Well,
Hey John, how are you doing?
pretty good. Trying to get an app set up so we get a good Wi-Fi analyzer here. Oh, Mark,
Hello, Mark.
Hey, buddy, how you doing, man?
how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good, I guess. Same old stuff, different week. How about with you?
It's going good. We did a. So first off, this is live streamed to the interwebs on YouTube, and we did a GCP challenge lab. We completed four tasks without instruction, so we got lucky there, but we didn't finish the lab. So we'll resume that next week. Hello, Gene. Hello, Gene. How are you?
I'm well.
Yep, Gene was one of the guys in the GCP one this morning. I'm trying to make sure I've got a device up to see the Wi-Fi analyzer. Got that going. Had lunch. All right, so let's see. Let's do some presenting now. We'll just do this window. Do a screen if I can do it. Present. The screen. Okay. All right, so we got this guy up last time. We'll try to do something more substantial with him this week. Try to get a custom object detection in there. The other thing is, we're gaining momentum with Amazon. Amazon gave me a year's access to some other cloud training site. I haven't actually logged in there. I do register. They gave me almost $500 in credits that I can give out to you guys. I was thinking maybe what we could do is each week give out one of those $25 coupons. I'm not quite ready to do it yet. I got to go find them and get them prepped. But next week we'll definitely do that. If I do it right, I'll do it like we do the online raffle where you enter your email and all that good stuff. If not, we may just do it simple. Like I'll write a number down and then you guys put it in chat and then I'll flip the card around to show you what the number is. And like maybe guess a number between 1 and 10. Do something like that. Anyway, so that's that. We're not going to do any quizzes today. We're going to jump straight into doing something with this. So admitting people. So let's look. We got the guy there. Let's bring him online. Do that first. See if it gets it.
Last week I dropped off a little early. I had something else coming up. So we were able to onboard the camera last time?
Yeah. So last week we were able to register the device and we were able to look at the object stream and the native or raw stream. And in order to do it, it was kind of weird. You had to get off of the Wi-Fi and put it in access point mode, and then you could connect to it. I thought you'd be able to do it differently. Let's click up this, see what this documentation thing is. So we all know what.
Did you run a Wireshark on it eventually or not?
No, I didn't run Wireshark. All I did was, if I remember correctly, we were doing it live, so it was just we saw that the instructions were set for a canned IP address, and that canned IP address is only active when you're in access point mode. So let's see what we've got under getting started. Eventually, I got to get this thing set up so that we can do everything. All right, so this is interesting. Register your device, create and deploy a sample project in the console was supposed to take 10 minutes. It took hours. So when we see this one saying create, this is the second simple thing to do. This is supposed to take 2 hours. We'll see if we can get it working. All right, so we're using the official AWS stuff. I'm going to have to put my dog outside if you don't quit jumping on me. To create an S3 bucket, we need to sign in and create bucket. Have it start with Deeplens. Okay, all right. Services S3. I got to figure out a way to store this so that you guys can see it. You can get access to it. Alright, what was he saying? Create a bucket, Deeplens dash. Testy. Custom. Yeah. Yada yada yada. Did it say anything about copying settings or anything? Just create. No, you're going outside. And as soon as I hit create, I'll put you outside. Next. Oh, that was create down below. This. Next. Get up. Get up. This is what I'm trying to go through.
I'll look for you, John.
Yeah, dude. He's like, I fed him and he wouldn't go outside to eat.
So you guys want to hear my theory about this whole thing?
Yes,
Sure. Okay. I think when you put in a security system, right? There's like a knock that sits out there and is like where your security calls if there's an alarm. And I think the Amazon account sort of sets up the same kind of thing. So, when you put it in mode, I think what it's doing is it's creating a local IP address on your router, so it can tunnel in and take and record like snapshots and things like that. So, I don't know when you set up an S3 bucket, but it's probably just like gonna periodically pile up camera pictures out there on your S3 bucket. And so I'm kind of curious to see this because I want to know like how much of the logic in their AI model is local and how much of it is actually maybe reliant on, cloud processes and things like that. So John pointed out last week that it was an Intel-based chipset, so it might actually be doing a lot of the work locally, and then just using excuse me, using sorry, using the S3 resource to build training sets.
Oh, you need to get some water, Mark. You sound like me, like chewing tobacco and talking. You get it down the wrong hole.
Yeah, I get this weird thing where sometimes I just, my throat clams up and I can't use it for anything but probably pharmacology. But
there you go.
So I think it's got to do like this reverse tunnel thing. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see how much of that actually turns out to be true.
Yeah. Well, for what it's worth, I'm using the notebook which I showed the week before we got the Deeplens, which is the notebook that I used back in the day for a Coursera class. And so I did it with the Coursera, and then like when the Udacity, I think I used that same notebook. We'll just use it again. All the code goes to my GitLab GitHub repo, so that's good. So we can save the stuff. All right. So the only thing he's saying here is now creating the bucket, and then he's saying something about launch an Amazon, blah blah blah. It's stored. So this is saying the walkthrough is in this directory. So I wonder if that's the walkthrough on just SageMaker. Let's see if he's up. He's still pending the status here. We'll refresh it, see if he's up yet. Oh. One of those bad things that I've got is if I create a tab, and here I can SSH to my local host. I can't do it in incognito for some reason, so I just can't like flip tabs back and forth. Do this to kind of see a console. Still pending. We started it up. Still pending. There's nothing special in here. But we got to get that up first. All right, you can service. Okay. I'm using like a medium. I think the medium, some of it is free. But I do remember I get charged for this, so I have to be careful not let it stay running. All right, so according to their docs, they were saying looking AWS SageMaker Jupyter Notebooks directory. Maybe I don't have that directory. This Udacity stuff. That's Udacity, and this is the Coursera. I don't see anything.
You may not have a directory until you actually launch SageMaker and like make a new notebook.
No. This is the. Where am I? I think I'm on this tab. No, I'm not sure. This is showing you in the AWS compute engine or EC2 instance, whatever. It's running Jupyter Lab, and it's got like a directory browser. So I put all my notebooks in this notebook directory. This is kind of, and this is also mirrored on my Git repo, right? So you're looking at a directory contents. So there's only one notebook for Udacity. Let's go back up.
This is the way Wolfram works.
Say again? Yeah. So I thought maybe this is the Coursera. This is kind of like the root stuff. I thought maybe there might be like some default stuff. I don't remember what this is. It might have been something that's kind of in the wrong place. But it looks like there's nothing small instance. I don't even remember what that is, but there's nothing here on what they're saying. But we got a bucket, yada yada yada. Let's see what they're saying here. We've got a registered Deeplens. I don't know if I've got GPUs or not. That's an MLT2 medium. What do I have? I have, oh, right there, MLT2 medium. Okay, so that's good. That's the same thing. Reinvent Deeplens workshop. So that's creating a notebook. We don't need that. Sage. I think we've already got a execution role, so I don't think we need that. They're using a specific GitHub repo. So what we're going to try and do is copy that. I can see that here, or if I actually have to. Okay, good. Alright, so let's get the code for it. Let's see if we can create a shell here. Okay, interesting. So way up here at the top, there is some stuff that's created by default. But if you see, let's see where it is, where we are. Let's look in SageMaker. So that SageMaker directory is the root of this one, right? Because you got Coursera and data, so that's there. And we'll just make a directory here. Deeplens. And let's make a directory which is samples, AWS samples. Notes here. Alright, let's see if we can get clone of repo. Look at it from this point of view. Alright, so that's done. Let's see what it's doing. Clone. So we're not doing it. So what they're doing is they're giving you instructions on how to set up a notebook which is specific for their repo. We're going to put their repo underneath mine, and we'll do it that way. It might be a mistake or whatever. Oh, and now he's going to do a large. Okay, so this is going to cost money. That's why they're doing this. But we're going to try and use our existing one. It takes longer to train. It may cost a little less money. So this is just, that's all that's doing there. And it takes a while for this request to go through, so but we're going to try to go around it. AWS SageMaker, let's look, see if we can find this directory. Let's see back to the top. See if he finds this directory. Let's try this. I know it's not going to be in lost and found, but I just want to get rid of any error messages. was a way to open another terminal. What's that? This one. Oh, that's a Python thing.
John, you can put an ampersand on the end of your commands, and it'll spawn them as a sub process.
Yeah.
Give you your back.
Yeah, I can do Control Z background. And that's equivalent. Let's just see for a second. We were looking for AWS. Let's look in sample notebooks. AWS SageMaker. Let's look in the repo. So you can see. Let's see. Okay, they're finding it in recipes. What is that? Maybe up samples my pools. Oh no, that's where we're at. I thought this output here was from the find. It's not. Okay, here it is. Nope. Is that finished? That thing finished. It didn't find it. Let's do it in the foreground. It should come back a lot faster. Just to make sure. Once it's finished, it should cache it and come right back. Hopefully, maybe not. Nope. So we don't have that code. Okay, that's not good. All right, well, we've done that. Okay, so they've got so this is a custom model, but everything you're doing is already canned. Okay? So we'll download this file. Open the console. You need the following: a trained model that is stored in an S3 bucket starting with Deeplens. Well, we haven't trained a model yet. This over here was creating an instance, but he wasn't telling us how to train.
My guess is that all you have to do is open a tutorial, and it'll probably load the sample code that attaches to the training data set, so you can see it work.
Yeah.
I can't have you start from scratch on any of this.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is I am doing a tutorial. Right, here we are. So this part was just create a bucket. We did that. This bucket, this one is basically saying create it, which is this is kind of odd here. Here he's saying create a notebook, and he's giving a size, and then afterwards, that's IAM setting up a Git repo. We pulled that repo, but then after that, he's saying that you have to request a quota grant or a quota update so that you can build a more expensive model. And then after your servlet limit has been approved, you can get started with the notebook in that directory. Now, trying to find that directory, I don't have it, right? And it's not in the thing that we pulled in the GitHub repo, which is, where is it again? This one. It contains the Jupyter notebook required for this custom project. So let's go to here and look for a second what he says on this. Clone this repo. Okay, there's the theme submodule. Okay, so that's part of the problem. He's going into recipes and get submodule in net. Copy that. Yep. Let's go back over here. Deeplens. This is the directory. Okay. From here, he's going to pull the submodules. Just to make sure that works. Sure, nothing coming down from it. Okay, we did that. After installing Hugo, install Hugo. What's this? Hugo's site generator. Oh my god, okay, so download. This is going to be a little hard because I don't have a URL on the web browser within the notebook. What was he saying? Download from the releases page. So he's downloading a specific version. Okay, so here we go. 64-bit deb. Hugo deb. Alright, let's see if I can get that up to the. Maybe this. Maybe go like this. Let's see if we can do this. Linux.
I don't think you need to do this, John. I think when they set up the demo and the sample,
yeah,
they they provision you basically a machine instance, right? And they're telling you you've got to run some upfits. So you probably, I'm thinking that the repo is already configured in there, and you don't need to add it. And so you should just be able to run it's either RPM or apt update. I don't know which package managers they're using, but and whenever the service like the Jupyter notebook gets set up, there's probably, it's not looking at the file system. It's probably got a URL you got to put into the notebook that links to the file resource.
No, so in SageMaker, the note. Let me show you something real quick. Let's give you an example.
Because aren't the files, like the folders, going to be accessed through a cloud reference?
So right now we're inside of a specialized EC2 instance that's
Right.
running Jupyter Lab.
Right.
Let me, I can't remember, it's been so long since I've done this. Where is the new launcher? Here we go. All right, so we'll do a new launcher. That's what we're missing. All right, so from here, I'm going to pull up a notebook.
Right.
And I think my notebooks were Conda MXNet P36. I think this is right. Oh, nope. Here's a better. That's not a good way to do this. It's not the way. I want to close this notebook. Okay. So over here is a file browser. So that's the thing that we just. Okay, he went away. Good. All right. If we go back, go to this, and we go to one of these notebooks, and see, I pulled. This is a file, right? This is a notebook file that I showed the other day about how to run, right? It's literally
Right.
in this file system. So if I go back to the root, and that was Coursera. So here's the root of the notebook instances, SageMaker, and then that Coursera, and then notebook, matching this up here. That one was image classification, one line. That's this guy, but you're seeing like all this cell stuff. That's kind of like input and output, right? So saying that this is the standard error stream. Let's look. Here's some source. The source, that cell looks like bang bang or ampersand % bash pip install. If you were to look up here towards the top, that's that cell. So that's a file. That's what that is. So it's there, right? And we just, when we went back up and we pulled this repo, we put it in the directory where we can run notebooks. This is the root. We're going to remove this untitled that we created. We don't need that. This is their repo. And then he's saying within here is you can, after this, you can look at this guy. And then that came from, I got that from, where was it? It was from here. But let's look at this again. Just in his docs. This, from here, he's like, you're installing it on local host. So it looks to me like he's wanting you to do something on your local host, which doesn't make sense with the other thing using a SageMaker notebook. And this is just saying within this repo, when you, the submodule up, I don't know why he's doing submodule init, because that's saying like you're going to create a submodule, I thought. This is saying any submodules that when you did this clone, this is going to get them with it. So this is like if you've got a GitHub repo inside a GitHub repo. And then he's like talking about how to run the website. We don't really care about the website. So that's not very helpful there. Over here, at the very end, find this directory or something that looks like it. So we need to find something that has an IPyYNB in it. That's what I'm trying to find. So let's try that. Find dash name star IPyNB. Okay, there's a custom trash detector. Is that the only notebook he's got in here? There's a lambda.zip that he was talking about. I mean, that could be. Where did you see something about pulling a lambda? That's the next one. Deeplens and lambda.zip. We pulled that down. I don't know if that's the same. What's the link? The link is it's from an S3 bucket, and it's Deeplens image classification. Here he's saying it's an externally trained model, we're just going to add it. Okay, so that's kind of funny. They're not showing us how to actually train that. I thought they would. But let's try that. Here's the Deeplens. That's the one that we've got. I think we have to import. Yep, import. Externally trained. This is odd. We're doing something here. We can't type that in. So bear with me a second. I have to do it separately. It's 3:. This guy, Fun, I think he's the one that sent me the camera. MobileNet. MobileNet. One. He's using MXNet. That's good because all of our stuff has got MXNet on here. Your path should end in the following /model.tar.gz. That somewhat like that. Import model. Check the bucket and its region. Okay, S3 Deeplens -phun models MobileNet. I can't copy and paste, so I have to literally make. I don't know if that's a space in between there or not, but I don't think it's a space. 1.0-bear.tar.gz. I'm literally looking at this. And then he doesn't have a version string. That's not. It does not work. That ain't gonna happen. And then none of these, that was a dev. Maybe that's a lambda file, so that ain't gonna work. So where is he getting his externally trained model from?
It's probably in the tarball.
So what tarball? That the things that he had us download is a deb. That's like the Hugo website generator.
No, in the model itself, it's a tarball.
Okay, this is a
So
zip
it's
file.
compressed bundle of files.
Right. So there's a tar file here, but that's a tar file in an S3 bucket we can't get, and that's literally from. See if I can put this up here and drag. That's from this doc, right? So I didn't type that up. That's where I pulled it from. That download. Let's copy Lambda. It's a Lambda bot. It's not it. These are called Deeplens. Deeplens image. Yes. So that's the other thing he's mentioning there. We can unzip it and see if there's a. That's just lambdas. There's no model inside of there. Hello, Michael. How are you doing? Your mic's muted. How are you? Where is he getting?
Okay. I just can't see what this was about and stuff.
Yeah. So this is every week. This is the AWS 2-hour time slot for the AWS users group in Research Triangle Park in North Carolina. And every week I will do like 2 hours on Google Cloud Platform at 10 a.m. And then at 1 p.m. I'll do 2 hours on AWS. And this week we've received an AWS Deeplens camera from Amazon and some credits. And so we're trying to bring it up and just baby step it at this point.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I don't know anything about it, so I'm learning it in real time.
Well, I don't know much about AWS. I'm here mostly just to watch.
Okay, well there you go. With that said, typically we try to do labs where I don't have to know much. I can just kind of blaze through them, and you can do them on your end as well, and we can do them side by side and work them out.
Gotcha.
With this, like I said, I don't know anything about the Deeplens except the week that we've had it, right? And I know some ML, and I know some about lambdas and other things on AWS, but I just don't know enough about this particular project. And so we're kind of running into a stumbling block in that they've got a guide here that's telling you kind of what they're going to do with it. And then there's a step here about training a model, and we've created the SageMaker notebook, but we can't find the notebook that trains the model, and I don't see that there. And
they need a sample workbook. You can't do it without one.
Yeah, so and this is like their website, AWS Deeplens recipes. So I was kind of expecting to see a bunch of different notebooks in here.
See if somebody has an online tutorial, if you haven't already.
Well, we're looking at one now. This is from Amazon. I'm trying to use their docs because the more you can use either Google or Amazon's docs, the better you come up to speed on that particular vendor, right? It's like when I was writing Microsoft code, you can go read the Microsoft docs, or you can read all the docs that people write based upon those docs. And I just like go to the primary. So anyway, this guy here, he's got, it looks like he has some different ones. So maybe they all work off this same lambda. Let's look at coffee counter and see what this is. And see if any of these have a model. So this is a web app. Here he's got two. Inference might be something that we want to look at. If I remember correctly, inference is kind of like prediction. We'll see what the model inference. See what that meaning machine learning. See if there's like a definition. Yeah, inference. So machine learning inference is like prediction. So you've got a model trained, and then you're going to give it some data, and you're going to get an output out of it. So it's prediction is the other term. That's what I was thinking. So this would be a model that we could predict with. So that means it's already been trained. Now, how do we get this to run on the device? We need to go back here, and this is the model architect path, but it has to be in S3. So maybe we got to put that thing in S3. So let's do this tab. Go back to S3. And we'll kind of use his syntax for what he was doing. He's got models, and then he's got the tar file. So we created this Deeplens testy bucket. Let's create a folder. I think that was models, right? Models. I think that's fine. Within models, we're going to upload this guy. So let's go back over. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Okay, so this guy is just the code, and that's Python code. It's not a Python notebook. So that code could be used to. It's probably the prediction part, but we need something to train it on. And typically, you use you run some code to train it. And I don't know. I don't know. This is not going to generate that because he doesn't have any data to train it with. Really out in the weeds here. Go back to the doc. See what he's saying. At this point, we've created an S3 bucket. We've created the instance. So with all that's been done, you can get started with the A-to-Z Jupyter Notebook available in this directory. You go back and look in the sample. There's some samples as part of the overall thing. Where is it? Here we go. Let's see if there's anything here on Deeplens. Oh, goodness. It's the Fast AI class. Anything here on Deeplens? You can't search this for like Deeplens. Some step functions.
You couldn't hit Control F and try searching that way? Or is that, oh, it's such a brand new thing. It's not a browser.
Well, yeah, we're in a browser. I think it would search within what's visible. But
Yeah.
Spark. Is anything Deeplens in here? I mean, we can page it. Maybe we can do it like that. Let's see if we can find blazing text. Blazing. Yeah, we can find that. Okay, and that's actually scrolling it. Deeplens. Nothing. Deeplens. Nope. See what they got on deep. Deep learning, deep racer, deep R. 9. What the hell is this guy talking about? Did this page help you provide feedback?
No.
No, like, what are you talking about? Where is this thing at? You can get started with the Amazon SageMaker Jupyter Notebook available in the AWS SageMaker Jupyter Notebooks directory. Well, this is the repo that the dude is pulling. He's pulling this. There's a content. What is content?
Oh, getting started.
Yeah, but that looks to me like that's something to do with Hugo. I mean, like, Hugo is like this website thing, but we can look. Oh no, here is, what is Deeplens? This looks like he's making a website that you can.
Yep.
Yeah, this is like his website. He's using this
Yep.
repo to document his website.
Beginner.
Register, we've done that bit.
Beginner.
Deploy, we've deployed it in viewing, we did that. Worker safety. Okay. We've got Deeplens. He's creating a bucket. We've created a bucket. He's telling you how to do the bucket.
Create an inference lambda function.
Yeah, so we were able to get the lambda function that he's talking about. We're trying to find out how the model, so the lambda function's separate from the model, right?
Gotcha.
Let's create a lambda.
Well, this is like, now this is the model. That's the output. So it has to come before that.
So let me go back and show you kind of some of
They're
this.
like, it has to come before the setup UI. Sorry,
If I, nah, let me go back. Let's see. Let's look at this picture. Maybe there's a picture here. So you've got a device. And here is the device. The device has a model deployed to it and a lambda function. The lambda function is so that it can take the camera image and then use that to call the model. That's the best way I would describe it. And so this piece here we've got, because there it's here. Right? So we've got the lambda part.
Gotcha.
Right? But the model part we don't have. And then what he was doing was he was saying down here, use this from the model. The model has, like, when you model's going to have source code and it's going to have data. and then you're going to take the data with the source code and you're going to produce a trained model. That trained model is like an artifact, and that's what he's saying here. But we can't, in their sample, we can't access that
Hmm.
that guy, right?
Because that's a private repository, isn't it?
Well, so that's an S3 bucket, and when we come over here trying to do that, he's saying that S3 bucket failed. So that ain't gonna work. Let me,
Maybe tell their tutorial is broken.
yeah. No worries. Let me do this. Let me send this guy an email. I gotta go to a different browser. Give me a second. I'll send him an email. Because I do think that this guy, what was his name? PHU. Deeplens. Let's find the guy's name. Okay. Yeah, this is the same guy, Fu Wen. So, hello, Fu. On this page, it says to use a model. That model, that model S3ARN does not work. And it's on. I get. What was the error that we got when we tried to do that? Alright, so we'll send that to that guy just to see what he says. Alright, well that's that. Let's see what else we can do. So we can't do that. So this part fails. Let's see what else we can do in here. Building projects. This might be something better to read. Just out of curiosity, what are their supported frameworks? It's probably MXNet, MXNet, TensorFlow, and Kappa. I'm trying to stick to the MXNet stuff since that's like AWS flavor. You must have created and published an inference function. Oh, this is interesting. So in this chapter, you'll learn how to do this. So this is good. This might be better. All right. Very good. This is good. Good. Building AWS. Where is the next topic? Supported frameworks. Okay. So MXNet is AWS is using that from Apache, and then the Gluon is like their image processing support for it. TensorFlow is stuff that I've done with GCP. That's from Google. I prefer to do that on Google and do this on MXNet. Models. So basically what they're trying to say here is you get different models and you can trade off accuracy for speed, and accuracy is usually determined by also is proportional to the amount of memory and CPU usage, right? So some of these different models that are here, they might not be as accurate, but the results come back faster, or they might be smaller, but the accuracy is not as good. And you can kind of pick and choose, what's appropriate for you. If it's something like, like let's say you're making a camera that's detecting deer. Deer come very often. It's not that critical that you get a result right away, right? So you can use something that's more accurate but slower. But if it was something you wanted like real-time detection, like I wanted to count people walking through a hallway, then you might have to go with something that's less accurate but much faster, so you can get more frames per second. All right, so this is all he's saying there. He's going to use remember when we were talking about you train the model, and after you've trained the model, you have to, he was up here trying to use the artifact file right here. This is what they're saying here in this thing. Right, so he's in this case he's already got a pre-trained model, but he's trying to like pull it down, and then he's going to export it to create that thing he's going to put in S3. So what they're saying here is this is a 3, so of this 4D array, the X and Y, width and height, are 224. There's 3 layers, and then there's 1 batch. So this would be, you could put, multiple images, right? You could say there's 10 images, and it would be 10, 3 by 224 by 224. That's what that extra dimension is. And there's a standard for that. N, C, I think it's Z. N is batch, C is color space, and then this. So there's not really much there. It's, basically, in all of this, they talk about layers. Like you would have a convolution layer, and then you would have a flattened layer to collect it. That's what those things are. Or, pardon me, not so much flatten, I think it's pulling. So you convolute and then you pull. These different layers he's adding. For TensorFlow, he's probably using the estimator API. Nope. So they're saying these models have support in TensorFlow. Okay. And all of this is above estimator. Okay. Same kind of thing. Convolution, 2D convolution, pulling to flatten it back out. I don't know jack about coffee. Heard of it. I don't know jack about it. I don't know what the layers. Doing project outputs. Okay. Yeah, so this is what we saw last week. You have the device stream and the project stream. The device stream, I believe, is what they're terming raw. Yep. That's what they're saying is the unprocessed. The project stream is showing you a frame that has, in our case, we ran an object detector, which would be the bounding box on the object. So if you were trying to detect people, that frame would have a bounding box around a person and a probability written out on top for the bounding box that it is a person. What's interesting here is he talks about it's being online and view video streams. Let's look at this for a second, because when we did this, we had to take it offline somewhat, put it into access point mode. AWS can. We've updated it, so surely we have that. We downloaded the streaming certificate. Device at local IP address. And that's what I gotta find. Okay, let's see if we can find that. Pull up this one thing. Let's see if I can find it. Devices. Okay. For this. Size 1, 2. God, I remember my password. Let's see. That's good. Let's see if we wireless clients. It's the same problem as last time. The router above my head is the TP link, and oh, we haven't turned the guy on. No, there we go. Let's turn it on. I had him plugged in, but I didn't have him turned on, so it might be why he's not up there. Let's see if this works. Bear with me. Yeah, so sorry, folks, that this is not as structured as the lab stuff, because this is, we've got a developer device and we're looking at it, and I'm not an expert in it, so there's going to be some stumbling blocks here at the beginning. You just can't get frustrated with it. My goal is to get this thing up enough that we can actually do something with it. Alright, so the guy is up, yet he's not on this Wi-Fi, which is literally right above him. What's up with that? Does this thing Is he online now? Okay, so this is saying he's on. If he's that IP is not. All right, so this is incorrect because that's the access point IP. He should not be in an access point mode. And 86 is not my subnet. So if he's on Wi-Fi, that's not the address. And if you look over here, you can see all these are 192.168.0 on the router right up above us in the password folder. Let's see. Wireless. Network map. Wireless client. Oh, this is interesting. Did I see? Oh, I saw a one access. Where is it? Still not up. The blue light is on. Why is he not visible? It doesn't scroll anymore. Wireless clients. So this is showing that this guy is tied into another router, and there it's a 192.168.1. That's where, and that makes sense. And then these are all these other ones, and they're not there. This trying to find out where this guy is. I'm trying to. Okay, we're on the correct. Alright, so my Android phone is on this network. This thing should show it up here. No, he's not connected. Wireless clients. So I'm looking at my phone, trying to see what's on the LAN with me. That's odd. This guy still hasn't come up showing that this phone is definitely on there. It's not still, unless it's maybe this new one, this Astra star. What is our IP address? Wi-Fi and network. On, I mostly use Apple. On Android, how do you find out what your current IP setting is? Do you know where that is? Is it underneath About Phone? Yes. So we are IP address 0100. So this is the phone. The phone is now on this Wi-Fi. And if that works, then this guy down below is not on this network. So this is not going to work. It says he's online, but I don't believe that. Click on View Project Stream. So this is like last week, and he's saying click on View Project Stream. So the only way I know how to do this at this point, because he's not on it, the right one. See if we can edit device settings. Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, there's not much going on today. This is just kind of flailing around. Like I said, I'm still trying to come up to speed with it. I think to do these next bits, I'm going to have to I have to put this thing in Wi-Fi access point mode. I'm going to try to do that, and then when we get that figured out, we know the basics, and we can go on to these more advanced things. And in order to do this, I'm going to have to get off of the internet on this computer to get onto the camera's access point, and we'll just resume it another time next week. Still coming up to speed, so that's that. Yeah, sorry. Like I said, I'm learning it just like you guys are.
Yeah, that's good. That's the part of the.
Yeah, it'll get better when when I know more about it and I can show you the way better. It will get better. So just bear with me. I'm gonna try to do this. Remember, if you were here last time, this stuff this never works, and the only way I know to do it is to reset it, and then I've got a Wi-Fi analyzer here that definitely shows, and I'm gonna try and figure out why this guy is not going. That's in my control, right? I can at least get that part. The other one, I sent the email out, and I'll get some feedback from him, and I'll pick it up from there. If we have a contact with the developer and we have his repo, we'll try to use his stuff to come up to speed. I mean, he's the guy who gave me the camera, right? and he wants some feedback on his docs. Let's get that working, and we'll go from there. But I think I need to do a few things here myself beforehand. And so we'll call it a day. I'm gonna hang around for another hour or so, and then I'm gonna call it a day too. Thank you. I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Yeah, John.
Hey, Laverne, stick around. I'm going to give you that card for the 25 credits. I'm going to do it via email, okay? So, but I want to make sure. I'm going to stop presenting. I'm going to stop the stream. I want to make sure that works, okay? So just bear with me a second.